Hey, it's Glendon with making money with whatever damn way that you can. Title of this joint, The Art of Resale. There's a lot of people that want to make money flipping, buying stuff. But I see a lot of focus on the mechanics of resale. Because the mechanics are sourcing product, finding a sales channel, and making the sale. But the thing is, a lot of folks are looking for that press the button, out comes money. And the thing is, the art form, the way to really build your business. Because the thing is, your business is going to be totally different than the next guy's business. You could be in the same town, you can live in the same neighborhood, but there's going to be certain nuances about you, your family, your relationships. They're going to be totally different from this other cat. But everyone is kind of heading to the same place. They're like, they don't, because one of the, and with the picker community, which is like hella active on YouTube, you see the haul videos, and there's a huge educational component because, in my videos I mentioned some of the strangest things that I got out of a unit that shocked me that they sold, like pot handles or lids or springs. I mean, you never know what's going to really make you some money, and that's where the art form comes. Because one of the things that helped me be successful was constant education. I don't think if you're going to be any type of reseller, whether you're picking, storage auctions, garage sale, how, your education is always going on. There's this period when you get into the business, your brain wants to explode because there's so many things to keep up with. But if you stick with it, you'll start to level out. But the thing is, you still have to learn, because storage units taught me damn near anything will sell. That's the thing, because I remember buying this unit and it was full of old wooden store signs. And I was pissed when I got it. But I had this thing. It's like, I'm just not going to throw something away. They were old signs. Some are like 3 feet long. Some were 2 feet long. And there was about 12 feet. The stuff that they were, bam, nailed on the store. The signs were faded. I was surprised at the value of that crap. Some of the signs even had rotten and pitting. And I sold them on Craigslist. I didn't sell them on eBay. I went on eBay and I saw what signs were selling for, and it was like, holy moly, you got to be kidding me. People are paying this for an old sign? But these were not in perfect condition. The unit only cost me $80, and there was other good stuff in there. But I painted the picture. This is where the art form comes in. Because I sat there and who would want this? Who would want these old signs? Because you have collectors, which is a different cat. Because if you have someone who wants something, depending upon their pockets, that want can be really strong, but they will not go through because they don't have the money. But if they want and they need, and I was like, who wants these signs? So I put up an ad, and actually the first few ads failed. Put up an ad, hey, great signs for a pub. No responses. Great sign, for an art studio. No responses. Then I was like, funky, jazzy coffee shop wall art. Not a sign, but wall art. And I cleaned them up, and I, positioned them where they were really looking kind of sexy. And I had this chick come in, and what's really funny, she was opening up a shop in New Orleans. And she said these signs would be perfect because, she comes to look at the signs, and she pulls out a computer and she shows me her space, and she's like, oh God, that would go here, and that would go here, and that would go here. And she's like, oh, how do I get them to New Orleans? And I said, well, you know what? If you pay me $3,000, I'll include delivery. Now, understand, you're going to have to pull them in their spot, but I'll include delivery to New Orleans. And she's like, so, bam, she did what she needed to do. She disappeared, turned around 4 times, went somewhere, came back with the cash. And the thing is, this is the business, I gave her a receipt, got all her information, got her mother's phone number, got her cat's phone number, just because, people do funny stuff with money, then you can't contact them, and they're going to blame you. So I got all that. Now, the thing is, what she didn't know, and this is, I had a guy on the storage auction trail who was from New Orleans, and he always went home like once a month. And he owed me a favor. And I said, look, dude, you got to go home. And he had a truck. He had, it's a storage auction now. So he had all the stuff. And I said, hey, I need this favor. And I'll pay you $200. And he's like, what? I need you to deliver these old signs. They got to get there just like they look now, and I actually took the time to put bubble wrap on them and shrink wrap them and everything. And I said, I need these delivered to this. He said, oh, yeah, I know where that is. $200? You're paying my gas. There and back and lunch. Bam. And it was done. So I made $2,700 off some old, dilapidated, moldy signs. And when she got him, because, like I knew, he had family. Like, if you know anything about people from New Orleans, they like, tight, ridiculous. It's like if you cuss out one, you cuss out the whole family and everybody's coming to get you. That was his family. She gets the signs and everything. She shows, and it just looks wonderful. She spruces up some things. She freshens up the paint. And this is the art of making money with resale. Because everyone is looking to get that readily identifiable thing that will make instant cash. But in the process, if you continue to do that, you become intellectually lazy and creatively you die. Because everyone walked past that unit. The only guy that was bidding against me, because he was bidding on, there was some metal stuff. It was like some old 1950s appliances, but they were too far gone to really make any money. But I still made another $400 off the other stuff that was in there. Nothing special, was mostly volume. But the deal is, you have to have two trains of thought. You need to be looking for things that, yes, Legos sell well. Old Star Wars memorabilia, mint in the blister wrap, that sells well. Yeah, you need that. But you also need the eye. You need the eye. You need to be able to see that thing that someone's going to pay you a lot of money for because you can get it dirt cheap. That's the thing. And this happens all the time because people are like, oh, why are you buying that junk room? Why are you buying... It doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, I'm good. I'm glad that you don't see the $2,000 that I'm looking at. Thank you. I'm happy. And I will never explain. I was an asshole then. I'm an asshole now because I kept a lot of information close to the vest. But, and another thing, things can be repurposed. Things can be redone. But see, this takes creativity, forethought, effort, and you have to delay gratification. I bought this unit and it was full of cabinets, and the guy was a cabinet maker, and the cabinets were missing doors, they were missing hardware, they were missing glass, and you could tell it just looked like a Rudy Poot room, and people were like, because they wanted the cabinets to be perfect, and they didn't have that vision, and I was like, oh. And this was when the flat screen television thing was really taking off, because people were like, everyone doesn't want their flat screen on the wall. I never hung my flat screens on a wall because I like to move stuff around periodically, and once you put it on that wall, it's there. Then if you move it, you've got that stuff in the wall, and then you have to patch the wall and do all this other stuff that I really don't want to do anyway. So I started looking at these things. They're the right height. So my partner and I, we sanded the ones, and this is the thing, some of them were vintage pieces, so they were solid wood, so we could sand them down, restain them, because a lot of them were that funky 1960s color, that maple and oak. That didn't really do too well, but sand it down, make it mahogany, because mahogany, that dark chocolate, got super, super hot. I don't care if it was a footstool. If it was mahogany, people were like snatching it up. And we did some in cherry, and I got this room for $50 plus the cost of going to get it, took the glass out of the cabinets, and turned all these things into entertainment centers. Went to Home Depot, or another place to get a lot of really weird stuff that's hard to find is Ace Hardware. So sold all 9 of them between $400 and $600. Didn't happen overnight. Took a little while, took a lot of work. But if you heard what I got it for, calculate the profit margins. Even with buying hardware, even with time invested, even with the stain, more money, more money, more money. And that's the art of resale, because you want to look for stuff that everyone else is missing. And don't get mad if you're like, oh man, there's this room full of these Legos and the bidding's at 8,000, because everyone knows the value. It's hard to make money when everyone knows the value and everyone has money. That's insane to be mad that you're not making money because you're hoping that they're stupid. It's not going to happen. And I had a moment like that on the storage auction trail because I was getting my ass kicked. I couldn't get the pretty rooms. I couldn't get the sexy rooms. And I was sitting there saying, I wish they wouldn't show up. Damn. You know, and seriously, that's why I know when my fortunes turned that people would cuss when I showed up, because I used to cuss when certain people came up. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get some good units. Yeah, I'm going to get some good units. Oh, fuck. He brought his ass. Oh, damn, here she comes. I mean, seriously, because you knew when certain people entered, if it was something decent, it was going to be a war. I reframed my thought process, and instead of wishing that they wouldn't show up and hoping things would get better, I made things better and I took more risk. Then, within a matter of months, they started cussing when I showed up. And I'm going to tell you, it's a good thing to not have any friends on the storage auction trail at times, because you don't owe anyone any favors. At times, you know, it's just like you just go for what, and then there's no recrimination. You don't have to worry about all this backlash. And that was one of those periods, because, you know, I was just like, hey, going for mine, going for yours. But the deal is resale. You really, really have to understand the art of resale. Being creative. I mean, that's kind of what Etsy is built upon. You can sell so many things. During one of the conference calls of the Hustler Mindset, one of the members was talking about all the paper and stuff he sells on Etsy. And I knew he wasn't lying because I've sold similar things. So it's so many ways to make money and to help people out and not break you over the head because it was like, I'm poor, I'm poor, I'm poor. I've created the HMS 300 audio book subscription. That's right, the audio book club. Every month it's a new book about business, motivation, resale, how to, all that stuff. And I'm freaking happy. It drops January 14th. Yeah, that's when it launches. Links below. If you want to jump in, go right ahead. And if not, keep watching the other people make that money. But don't be mad. Don't be a scared little bitch. Don't do it, because scared little bitches never prosper.